Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 10 o'clock news on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Hello, good Saturday evening, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into the Q2 Weekend News. I'm Dustin Klemann. Records broken in Billings in the last 72 hours, causing dangerous conditions and flight delays. The snow has left many struggling to leave the house today. With more than 500 miles of streets, city crews are continuing to plow and haul arterial streets while contractors are plowing residential streets. And so far, it's slow going. Regardless, many still taking to social media to voice displeasure with being stuck in their driveway, even though crews are using snow gates to help mitigate the amount of buildup in front of driveways. Others going out of their way to thank crews for their work. That's a reminder, tax dollars goes to residential street plowing, not removal. Now, here's a look at the map showing how the plowing is being broken up right now. Residential contract plowing is still being done in Area 3. That is the west end in the red that you can see. Crews are hoping to reach Area 2, which is in the purple. It's above Broadwater sometime after midnight. The city's asking for you to remove your vehicles from the side of the street if possible and be patient. Meanwhile, Billings Logan International Airport dealing with significant delays on Saturday, with some planes waiting hours to take off. National Weather Service also taking note of the record snowfall, with 8.9 inches breaking the mark set for December 29th in 2010. Over the last few days, it's snowed about 15 inches in Billings, but now it will be the bottomed out temperatures that will hit the region hard.
With this particular storm, it was interesting. We had this cold air move down out of Canada into east of the divide across much of Montana. With that cold air in place, we actually had a really good fetch of moisture that came in off the Pacific. And probably during the New Year's Eve time frame, we could be as much as 15 below outside across Billings. So it's going to be cold.
We're not the only ones. Bitter cold weather is forcing some U.S. cities to put their New Year's Eve plans on ice. This as revelers in Times Square bundle up in order to watch the ball drop in freezing temperatures. And Laura Podesta reports from New York tonight.
Dangerously cold temperatures will continue across parts of the U.S. into the new year. Officials in Omaha, Nebraska postponed the New Year's Eve fireworks show. The yearly lobster dip at Old Orchard Beach in Maine has been rescheduled for the first time in 30 years. And in Philadelphia, an annual New Year's Day parade will go on as planned, with heating tents and warming buses set up along the route.
She made me wear like 4 layers, so I can't really move, but I'm warm. It's better than being cold.
In Times Square, the forecast for the ball drop is 11 degrees with a wind chill around 0.
City officials are advising people to cover all exposed skin and to wear a hat, scarf, and gloves. Drinking alcohol is discouraged because it causes the body to lose heat faster.
Extra emergency workers will be in Times Square to provide medical support, and a National Weather Service meteorologist will be monitoring the chilly weather conditions, which this New Yorker says he's actually excited about.
It's fantastic. I'm not a big hot person. I like the cold.
Organizers say the crystals adorning the New Year's Eve ball can handle extreme weather. And on Saturday,
3, 2, 1, Happy New Year!
That drop was tested successfully. Laura Podesta, CBS News, New York.
The coldest New Year's Eve in Times Square came all the way back in 1917 when it was 1 degree at midnight. This year's 11-degree forecast would tie for second back in 1962. And if people are looking to go out for the New Year's Eve festivities, it's likely you'll be stuck indoors this year with very low temps ahead, Brett.
That's absolutely correct. As a matter of fact, I put together a little graphic. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we can expect for our New Year's Eve. We are talking about bitter cold temperatures on the way, snow and ice covered roads, so keep that in mind, and wind chill temperatures 30 to 40 degrees below 0. And so it is going to be chilly, so do bundle up if you have outdoor plans. Hopefully you don't. You're going to be indoors, but allow yourself extra time to reach your destination. Watches and warnings. We have wind chill advisories in effect for those areas shaded in light blue. 20 to 30 below wind chill temperatures there. Wind chill warnings 25 to 50 below in those areas shaded in pink. Avalanche warnings off to our west, and also winter weather advisories for up around the Great Falls and Cut Bank area. We'll have the rest of your forecast and show you how cold it's going to be and for how long coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you very much, Brett. Also, winter beleaguered towns around the Treasure State more than 24 hours after a significant winter storm slammed western Montana, causing severe driving conditions across the region. Missoula County Sheriff's Office lifted the emergency travel only warning in the county. Meanwhile, in Great Falls, similar conditions exist with winter settling in and residents forced to deal with those road conditions. Again, you can download the Q2 weather app to be sure of where you're headed and what it looks like. Here's the close call for a semi-truck driver after an avalanche buried him in on Highway 200 last night. This was the site between Lincoln and Missoula. The driver was trapped in the front of the semi cabin while rescuers worked to clear enough snow so they could open the door. Fortunately, he was not injured. Westbound traffic was detoured. Lincoln County Volunteer Fire Rescue responded to that scene. The year 2017 will be remembered in Billings for a number of great achievements and growth. We can't forget the shocking crimes that took place in our community. Q2's Asia Gore has been following these crimes all year and brings us an update on the 5 most notable cases.
This year kept law enforcement on its toes as a number of murders, robberies, and standoffs took place month after month. Federal authorities raided a home in Roundup in June as part of an investigation into a serial bank robber known as the AK-47 Bandit. Authorities say Roundup resident Richard Gathercole robbed at least 7 banks in 5 states, escaping with cash in less than 4 minutes.
During the bank robberies, he was ruthless.
After eluding law enforcement for 5 years, the FBI says they have their man. In August, someone entered a home in Lodge Grass and unleashed a hail of bullets, leaving 3 people dead. The home, where 2 men and 1 woman was killed, set on fire days later in a string of events that residents called a community crisis fueled by drugs.
It's sad that this had to happen, but with it happening, it opened a lot of people's eyes.
No one has been charged with the crime. A well-known Billings man in the world of fitness went missing in July. Months later, authorities found Rory Warner's remains in a shallow grave outside Roundup. Murder charges have yet to be filed, but police suspect at least 3 men were involved in the drug-related crime. In November, 2 men stumbled upon a headless corpse on the Billings West End.
Definitely shocked. We got out of there as soon as possible and called the police.
The victim, Myra Knight, reportedly met his killers at a casino the night of his death.
You will have a jury trial.
Donald Cherry and Jeffrey Haverty are charged with the gruesome murder. And the Billings Police Department was thrust into the headlines after an unprecedented number of deadly encounters.
In these situations, our officers are victims of violent crime.
Officers fired shots during standoffs on the rims in May, at the Lazy KT Motel in October, and at Big Bear and the Billings South Side days apart in November. All of the officers involved in those incidents are back on duty. Coroner's inquests are pending. In Billings, I'm Asia Gore, MTN News.
Thank you, Asia. And justice was served with the convictions of 5 people in the murders of a Crow Agency woman, a Billings veteran, and a Hardin girl. Nationally, a year in review, President Trump grabbed headline after headline in 2017. He used Twitter to talk directly to the voters who elected him and to express his displeasure with the media. He spent the year insisting there was no collusion with Russia during the 2016 campaign and working to make good on his campaign promises. Weijia Zhang has the wrap from Washington.
I, Donald John Trump.
President Trump started his year with the oath of office.
Together, we will make America great again.
And put the media on notice, accusing reporters of lying about the inauguration crowd size.
This was the largest audience to ever witness an inauguration, period.
Special counsel Robert Mueller is investigating Russian meddling in the election and possible collusion between Trump associates and Moscow.
They have phony witch hunts going against me.
Mueller took over after Attorney General Jeff Sessions recused himself and President Trump fired former FBI Director James Comey.
Would you be willing to speak under oath to give your version of those events?
100%.
Mueller indicted former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort and cut a plea deal with the president's former national security advisor, Michael Flynn. President Trump says he fired Flynn for lying to the vice president about conversations he had with Russian officials. On the foreign front, the president exchanged a war of words with the leader of North Korea.
Rocket Man is on a suicide mission for himself.
He took trips to Asia and Europe, where he met the Pope and sat down briefly with Russian President Vladimir Putin. President Trump used Twitter as his primary source of communication, writing about everything from fake news to building a border wall to NFL players who took a knee during the national anthem.
Wouldn't you love to see one of these NFL owners, when somebody disrespects our flag, to say, get that son of a off the field right now?
The president was criticized when he refused to condemn white supremacists who sparked violence during a rally in Charlottesville.
You look at both sides. I think there's blame on both sides.
The president made good on many campaign promises, nominating conservative Judge Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court, enacting a travel ban for residents of 6 mostly Muslim countries, and declaring Jerusalem the capital of Israel. He also took executive action to undo several of President Obama's initiatives.
I am canceling the last administration's completely one-sided deal with Cuba.
From rolling back re-engagement with Cuba and ending DACA to withdrawing from the Paris Climate Agreement.
We're getting out.
President Trump failed to carry out his pledge to repeal and replace Obamacare, but Congress managed to hand him his first legislative victory, a massive tax overhaul that he promises will help make America great again. Weijia Zhang, CBS News, Washington.
Still ahead on the Q2 Weekend 10 o'clock news, a man arrested in connection with the Kansas swatting call that left another man dead. For the very latest when we return. And later in sports, it's finally here, #1 on the countdown about a phenom's ride through the Magic City this summer.